these two men are very fascinating to me, and they meet first in 1906 in London when they're both young men. Savarkar is in the India House in London. Gandhi comes to meet all these people, and he goes into the kitchen where Savarkar is cooking prawns, and Gandhi is aghast to see this Chitpavan Brahmin cooking prawns, and he's a vegetarian, and Savarkar offers him some prawns to eat, and then this guy says, no, I'm not going to touch this, and then Savarkar chides him and says, this is just boiled fish, and if you cannot eat with us, how will you fight with us? And we want young men who can go and bite the British alive and all of that. So it was certainly not the best of first meetings that two leaders could have. And a few years later, they again meet in London, where they have this whole talk during Dashera. And then Gandhi talks about Ram Rajya, and Savarkar follows him immediately and says, even Ram Rajya did not come without the annihilation of Ravan. And Ram did not go and do a satyagraha in front of Ravan to vanquish him, but he had to kill him with arms. And all our Hindu gods and goddesses are shown with arms in their hands. And these are not ornaments. They are to kill the evil. And this whole ahimsa is totally, not a part of the Hindu ethos, according to him, in our country's ethos, where destruction of the evil through force, through violence, is a very accepted form. That's what the Bhagavad Gita talks about. Anyone who goes against adharma, in the path of adharma, you can kill them, even if they are your relatives. So this was, I think, the fundamental issue where both these men never probably came eye to eye, and this continued this ideological rift between them. And post-independence, while one becomes the father of the nation, the other is his antithesis, so to say, who's also accused of his murder and then acquitted. But the vision of India that Savarkar saw, especially of a militarized country, a strong nation that had a strong army, whereas Gandhi spoke about dismantling the army, considering we were a peace-loving nation, we were free now. Today we are among the world's largest armies. After Pokhran, we are a different nation. So that's something where Gandhi's vision has not, thankfully, come true when it comes to our army capabilities. Even in terms of national security, the whole approach to, if you slap me on one cheek, I will give you the other cheek. We've done that for long with Pakistan and other, nations which are hostile to us. But today we don't do that. Like his view was Shatruncha Shibirat was his book. Get into inside the enemy camp and beat them black and blue, which is what I think we did at Balakot. And so, all these things, he advocated friendship with Israel, which today, after 70 years, we had made it a persona non grata with a country which was pro-India, only for domestic vote bank politics. But today, it's a different scenario. So whether it comes to national security, whether it comes to foreign policy, even economic policies too, Gandhi spoke about going back to the villages. India lives in a rural economy, the Charkha, Gram Swaraj, and all of that. Savarkar, on the other side, spoke only about mechanization, industrialization, what Europe did in the 18th century. We need to catch up, otherwise we'll be left behind. Urbanization is the key, factories, that's the way, economic prosperity. So somewhere a capitalist kind of a model of a free market economy, which was what has happened after liberalization particularly. So and Gandhi had very little time for science, and some of his views were also hotly contested by Savarkar. When the 1934 that Bihar earthquake happens, Gandhi says this is God's curse because we follow the caste system. And Savarkar writes a scathing article in the Shraddhanand saying, how can someone like Gandhi, who's such a leader, propagate such superstitions? We need to be scientific in our approach to social issues and all that. So if we have this so-called scientific temper today, I think somewhere where we don't acknowledge this man for a lot of it, which is okay, fine. But then I would say, and I keep saying, even the leaders of political parties who claim to align themselves with Savarkar, they would not openly come and say what I just did, which you brought up. But the truth is that, and he himself in his memoirs says, in my lifetime, I'll be ridiculed, my views will not be accepted, but 50, 60 years after I'm dead and gone, you will all come down to veering down to my viewpoint. Of course, that sounds very pompous, and Savarkar was not known to be a modest man at all. He was a very pompous, had high opinion of himself. So he says that, but today we see, when we actually test on the altar of history, we do see that this is coming true.